Welcome back, everyone, to the trading show here at Sin City Crypto. My name is David. My water up here. A little bit of a bounce on BTC. I want to give a big shout out to military bros. If you're in the military, thank you for your service. Also, regardless if you're in the military, thank you for the super chat. Cosmos, please. I got you, bro. Also, is Rooster Smith in here? Rooster Smith, if you're in here, throw something in the chat. Because as promised, I looked into XCL, and I'll give you my thoughts, but I'll only do it if you pop up in the chat. So, say something so I know you're here. Say something. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go down that road. All right, let's take a peek at the crypto bubbles. Let's take a peek on the daily. Chain Opera AI is the most volatile crypto like ever. Let's take a peek at a chart here real quick. I know CryptoFace has been making a killing on this one. I talked about CryptoFace a lot. The dude, that's my dude right there, man. I mean, the wild swings on this one. Just since Monday, guys. Since Monday, this thing has 3x. 300 or 200 and some odd %. Let's see where this thing is going to pull back to. Seeing a little bit of a bounce. We'll take our fibs here. Looks like, oh, look at that. David's favorite fib level, the 50, has been tapped and bounced. We love the tap and bounce. It's our favorite kind of price action, baby. The tap and bounce. Gina's looking at me all weird. Gina, close your ears. Man, you know what? Let me take a second here and let me give a massive shout out to Gina. She has been absolutely crushing it. Gina, you are an absolute asset to our channel. We love you and we thank you for your great work. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause. Give it like with the sound effect. There you go. All right. Tap and bounce 50. If we get back there, potentially look at a long. If you're holding this thing, or maybe you're not holding it and you're saying, damn it, I want to get in. You're 50, $14.35. If we fail, there's another important level below, which is your gold pocket, $12.70 to $13 even. Not sure if we'll get there, but please, again, I came in saying the most volatile crypto. This thing has had 3 X's in 3 days. It's also drawn down 60% in a matter of 20 hours. So keep that in mind, please, as you are trading, especially if you're using leverage. Snackadelic said, is Ada cooked? I don't know. I don't think so, but yeah, I could be wrong. All right. So that is the highest gainer, up 72% on the day. Plasma up 8% on the day. Everything else, as you can see, is red. We'll take a look at some funding rates as well. Can we catch any bottoms? We've shown some altcoins. You see that funding rate go negative, and that usually has signaled a bottom. And so, are we seeing bottom in alts? We'll take a peek at that. On the hour, though, pretty flat. Pancake Swap down 1.5% on the hour. Morpho down 1.4. You know, obviously Chain Opera up 3.5 on the hour. Flare up 1.7 on the hour. Bittensor, where are you, Bittensor? Bittensor flat on the hour. This thing is at 422. We'll take a peek at that one. We'll go into Bitcoin. We'll look at ETH. We'll look at Cosmos. Let's take a look at Bittensor on the daily. Massive run. We had this kind of falling wedge pattern. We got that breakout retest, fell right back in it. Again, this is on the daily, and then just continuation, man. Right, this would have been the breakout, and then Friday happened. We tapped the bottom end of this range, and then a massive breakout. Where's Bittensor holding currently? Let's get rid of those, and you know what we do? We draw our fibs. Let's draw our fibs. Breakout to high. Already got a tap on that 50 at 378. Can we go back down there again? Potentially. We're looking to reclaim that 236 at 431. But this thing had a massive rally, so we were expecting a little bit of a pullback from Bittensor. Let's see what Market Cipher B is telling us. Where did you go, Market Cipher B? Gotta love the undo button. Momentum's rolling over on daily for Bittensor after getting to our overbought level. We'll see if we get a green or a red dot here on market cipher B on the momentum wave. Money flow is in the green currently. Just got to cross over into green. What we don't want to see for continuation is what we saw here, where money flow briefly got into the green, didn't really it stayed stagnant and then came right back down into the red money flow. VWAP looks like it's trending down. It's currently still sitting strong at a +8. We want to see this thing reverse and start going back up again. That's on the daily. We can check the weekly on Bittensor. Bittensor weekly still looks good. Green dot on the weekly if it holds. VWAP expansion to the upside. Money flow still in the red though. We want to see that money flow on the weekly go green, and it's on its way there. Obviously, this still has quite a few days left. You can see on the weekly though, strong bids coming in on Bittensor. Heikinashi tells us stage 1 of our confirmed uptrend is intact. Daily tells us it's been intact since yesterday's candle, so your entry would have been here. 404, which even with this downturn, we're still in the green. So good to see. Did tap that 466 level, got rejected there. And if I'm not mistaken, let's throw on our volume range on Bittensor. This is on the daily. Let's go back to our traditional candles. Had a little bit of a volume spike here at around that 466 level, which we got topped out. My downside target again on Bittensor is 378. So if we do sniff that price level again, I'd be interested in bidding this thing, whether it's on leverage long or a spot. So yeah, a lot of you have been sidelined. You know, those of you that have been watching our show, hopefully you got a little bit of a... by the way, Gino, will you do me a favor? Will you keep your eye out if Rooster Smith hops into the chat? If I miss it, will you just let me know? So those of you that have gotten in, entry should have been at 300 or sub 300. If you got an entry above 300, you're still in the profit, as long as you obviously are below 4. But if you've been sidelined and you're waiting, set an alert for 378. If it gets there and you're keen on getting an exposure to Bittensor, that would be a great area for you to get your first exposure to. Of course, it's your money. You do as you please. But at least for me, if I'm looking to add to my bags, that's the level I'm looking at. You do have strong volume bids coming in around 345 and 317. I don't know if we're going to see those levels again. If we do, I will be max allocating and growing my exposure to Bittensor. I don't know if I'll let it overtake Bitcoin as my #1 hold, but I would like to add more. I don't think I have enough. Maybe I'm being too greedy. Maybe. Let's take a look at Cosmos. Cosmos. A penny. 4 pennies. I'm not gonna lie, guys, it's a pretty ugly chart. This is on Cosmos on the weekly. The level I had marked out was 377. We've lost that. We failed to reclaim it on a wick. But this was a very important level, man. Once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times we've bounced, right? This is a 38% bounce. The other one was a plus 130% bounce. This is a 30%. So like just on average, 30% bounces off these lows, and we lost it. And on the daily, right, looks like we're breaking down from a bear flag here on Atom. Right, and your downside target would be $1.90. Does that mean it's going to get there? No, but that's your measured move. Let's check some momentum. Looks like money flow is reverting back to the downside. It was making up some ground, and then it kind of did a little bit of a U shape. Or not a U shape, but what's the opposite of a U? The arc. Like a halfway A. So bad. So bad. So bad at the analogy. Anyways, we want to see that thing reverse back up. VWAP still trading above zero. Momentum has rolled over. Atom's a tough one, man. You know, when I first bought Atom, was one of my first coins I bought. When I was like, became a real, you know, I was putting some real money into the markets, not just kind of dipping my toe in. And this has been very disappointing. And I think part of it is its thesis on why you would have exposure to Cosmos with the interoperability. Well, everyone does that now. That's kind of a given. And so has it lost its lust? I think so, man. I think so. You have Akash coming out and saying we're kind of looking for another home. I don't know. I would be scared to hold this thing. I hold like a very, very tiny bit. Not anything that would get me up in the morning to check the price and say, wow, price is going up, I'm making money. No, it's like, oh, price is going up. Okay, well, where's it going to go from here? And I'm curious how far away it is from its 200-day moving average. 24% from its 200-day moving average. A lot of altcoins, you guys, by the way, a lot of alts have lost their 200-day MA. Let's just go down the list here. Bitcoin obviously not an alt, has not lost its 200 MA. ETH has not. Solana got a got a bullish retest, so it has not. XRP has lost its 200 MA. Failure on a reclaim. Bear flag, looks like it's breaking down. BNB, shocker, has not lost its 200 MA. Doge, you're going to see a lot of these alts, right? We've already shown XRP. Doge has lost its 200 MA, but more importantly, I think, losing its MA is failing to reclaim its 200 MA. ADA, same thing. Tron is fine. Link, barely, is fine. XLM, barely. Right now, it's at a... XLM needs to hold 31.9 cents. If it fails, I mean, at the very least, you're tapping 28. More than likely, you're going down to 22 cents for XLM. Sweet lost it. Didn't even get all the way up to its 200 AMA, which is sitting at $3.15. Hedera, same. SHIB, lost it. Didn't even retest it recently. Polkadot, dead in the water. Litecoin, currently consolidating as 200 MA, but as of right now has failed to retake. And you can just go down the list, and these are bearish structures, guys. Hyperliquid's holding up fairly well as of now. Pepe, no. Near, no. Aave, unfortunately, same thing. Aave is one of my favorite projects. It is right at, well, technically right now on the daily, it is below its 200 AMA, the last part of the ribbon, 246. So Aave needs to reclaim 246 in this trading day candle. Will it? I don't know. But these are not good signals. Now, we know with the market cycles, if in fact we are still in a bull market, which I believe we are, we want to see this thing reclaimed like now. Now, tomorrow, this week, I would say before the next 10 days is up. If we don't, then the bull market is either over or we're in a segregated bull market. We're in a, what's the word I'm looking for? It'll come to me. It'll come to me. It's not coming to me right now, but it'll come to me soon. This bull market of only a few alts run on their own, tiny sectors, and within those tiny sectors, a handful of alts run. Look at AI, Bittensor has ran. Some smaller AI agents have ran, but overall, AI has not ran. Render down, Akash down, ASI down. You can throw Arweave in there. AI, it's down. And so we want to see these 200 MAs reclaimed. Now, the good news here is Bitcoin's 200 daily moving average is still intact. Let's throw that indicator on there. That's hour. Here's the daily. Bitcoin seeing a nice bounce at 110.7. Did put in a higher low. See if there's any bearish divergence here. No bearish div, which is good on the daily. I believe there's some bearish div on the weekly though, so we got to keep our eye on that. But we're seeing a really nice bounce here off of the 110.7, you guys. And so if we can continue to get that bounce, this is great. Your 200 AMA, your ribbon 1 is at 108.6, which is a key level. If we lose that for Bitcoin, let's take a peek at the last time Bitcoin lost. It was in March of this year. How many candle closes did we have under our 200-day moving average? 1, 2. Reclaimed it, and it took 2 days to reclaim. Chopped sideways, tested the top end of the range, lost it again. Okay, now this was more significant. Once we lost till we reclaimed, it was about 23 days. And then price moved up on increased volume, and then we haven't looked back since then. So I guess if you're looking at this cycle, you can argue that we have maybe a 20-day runway for alts and or Bitcoin to trade below a 200-day moving average ribbon. Past that, let's see last market cycle, 2021. Here you go, October of 2021. We fell below, came into this W pattern, ultimately failed to retake it, and then it was the bear market, right? We did reclaim it a little bit in 2023, but that was after Bitcoin had bottomed. And then we were kind of chopping sideways. This was holding at support, consolidating in this level, and then it was bull market vibes. And so we're at this very pivotal point, and I would argue more so the alts than Bitcoin, but Bitcoin as well. We're keeping an eye on the 200-day moving average. If that is lost, we have a very short window to reclaim it. If not, we're probably in a bear market, but we're not there yet. So let's look at the lower time frames on Bitcoin. Bitcoin coming into heavy volume right now. It's telling us that there's sellers here. Also on the 1 hour, couple things. One is your M pattern, bear flag, break to the downside. On its own, bear flag, break to the downside. Let's see what that measured move would be. This is kind of what we're looking at here. Now, this could very well be invalidated if Bitcoin gets above 112. If Bitcoin gets above 112, this bear flag is invalidated, and we can look to pushing new highs, maybe push that 786 at 113. Ultimately, though, as Magic said on Tuesday, 117.5 is the level, you guys. You want change of structure from bearish to bullish. 117.5 is the level. But this measured move to the downside brings Bitcoin back down to, guess what? Higher time frame support, 108. If 108 is lost, 108's lost, you've essentially lost your first band of that 200-day moving average ribbon. And then you start looking at things like volume and momentum, which we can take a look at now on the 1 hour. Green dot on the 1 hour. Momentum indicators are seeing a nice bounce here. VWAP expanding, money flow still trending down. Looks like it's inwardly curved. And you see here, starting to recover, but inwardly curved. Will we get more push to the downside on momentum? Or excuse me, on money flow? I don't know. That's the 1 hour. Let's go down to the 30-minute. Money flow crossed over to the green of the 30-minute, which is great. Potential for a anchor wave, trigger wave long setup here. Our anchor wave is solidified. Waiting to see where this thing stops out at. Could we get that nice trigger wave with a green dot? Expansion of the VWAP, expansion of our momentum indicators on the 30 minutes. So it means a lot less than on the higher time frames, but still makes for some nice potential scalps here. But we're keeping an eye on the bear flag. We'll push this thing down here. Oh, that was on the 1 hour. Bottom end of this zone is like 111.2. We want to see a bounce there. And again, invalidation sits at 112, which guess what? That's where your big volume node is. We have tons of volume. You have one here at 111.4, which Bitcoin is trying to reclaim. We have another one at 112 even, which is our invalidation. And then the one above it is 112.5. So we're in that region with Bitcoin. Down, we're probably going down to 108. If 110.7 doesn't hold, 108 is the level you're keeping an eye out for. Not enough for a limit order long, but enough to set an alert and come back to the chart. Raul said, why do you let Rob hijack the show? I don't think I do. I think we have a pretty even. He talks more sometimes on certain subjects than I do. And I just got to check my Telegram real quick. Damn, 10 messages. Who's blowing my phone up here? Virtual's intern. Okay, Virtual's intern. I'll get back to you when the show is over. So that's Bitcoin. Let's take a look at ETH. Let's zoom out to the weekly on Ethereum. Bull flag is still intact on the weekly, guys. I'll show you where invalidation is on this bull flag. But bull flag is still intact. ETH is currently at a very important level, 39.52. Not a lot of volume there. You have a ton of volume, and I'm assuming a lot of bids at 33.48. Now remember, this is high time frame. Let's drop a horizontal there. Volume plus the last time ETH had a drawdown, big bounce, rallied up to that 5K. Now this measured move, okay, depending on where this break happens, if this break happens towards the end of that flag, you're looking at a $7,400 price target for ETH. Downside again, looking at 33.65. That's on the weekly. We already saw ETH is, I believe, when we can double confirm. But I believe ETH was just at its, well, no, it's still got a lot of room to the downside, guys, before we can talk about structure of this chart changing. You got about an 18% run rate to the downside before we break below or break into that 200-day moving average ribbon. Let's clean up the chart here a little bit. Let's look at Market Cipher A. Nothing to see here on the daily. Let's go to Market Cipher B. A little bit of mixed signals here. Red dot and green dot. VWAP just broke to the downside. Momentum indicators failed to make a new high. Currently rolling over, but this is also, you can do TA on these indicators as well. This is also coming into a potential little bit of a bull flag here. Can we get another push to the upside in terms of momentum? Green dot followed up by a red dot and money flow. Let's see if that thing is starting to inwardly curve. Not an inward curve, but it's starting to flatten out just a little bit. We saw that rounded bottom. We were making some progress here. And then, well, we know what happened with the markets on Friday, which kind of threw all, look, every indicator and every trader kind of threw it in for a loop here. That's ETH on the daily. Let's check the weekly with Market Cipher, and then we'll move down to the lower time frames. Sharp correction here on money flow, but we had something similar around this time in September, and then we saw that thing reverse and push back to the upside. But VWAP, I mean, you're looking at continued lower lows here on the VWAP, looking at sitting at a -10 here on the weekly. Let's take a look at last time this happened, which was here. Let's go down, let's go up to the price action and see what was ETH doing around this time. ETH was putting in lower lows and it broke structure, Had a little bit of a flag, and then that break from around $2,000 up to that 5K level. So could we be seeing something similar, although price currently has not broken structure yet? To me, break of structure on the weekly means taking out 33.56 and seeing a weekly close below that, which we're very far away. Let's go ahead and draw our fibs. We tapped that 50 on Friday, 35.63. You can see a lot of confluence with volume and with your fib levels, and with just overall high time frame support levels. And so if you are a perfect entry maximalist, I just made up that term. If you're the guy or the gal that sits there and says, I am the most disciplined investor, I have my high time frame support levels marked out and I wait for those no matter what. Great. 35.63 down to 33.56. I would feel very confident bidding heavy in this box here. This is my heavy bidding box. And that box again, for those of you that are more visual, 33.61 to 35.70. That would be where I'd look to bid heavy on Ethereum. There's a lot happening on ETH. There's a lot of building happening on ETH. It's still the go-to for institutions, the large banks. I believe there was an announcement today, and it's skipping my mind, but it was a large I think it was Alibaba. It's an ETH L2. J, it starts with a J. Joya or Jaya, let's see. Alibaba Ethereum. Yeah, it's a ZK rollup. Jove. There it is. Jove. Jove Network. We'll follow them. Ant Digital, also parent company, I believe, of Alibaba. Alibaba Jack Ma. The Amazon of China, of Asia. And they've launched their L2 on ETH. ETH L2 for real world assets and users. High speed, low cost, smart tokenization. And so the trend is there, and right, and unless you're blind to it, ETH is still king amongst the institutions. And so getting chances to bid ETH at sub 4K, but more precisely $3,300 to $3,500, you're going to make money. Again, unless, structure changes on high time frames on Bitcoin, ETH, we lose those 200 MAs and we stay below that, more than a 20 to 30 day time period, then sure, we can look at, hey, the cycle is over, but we're not there yet. Let's take a look at funding rates. On the daily, Bitcoin funding rates are still in the green. Same with ETH. I'm looking for funding rates that look like this, that signal a potential bottom that is currently happening now. And I'll kind of run through these and we can find them together. We can look at, here's Doge. We can get rid of this large one. This was again on Friday, and let's split this. Can I not make this bigger? I cannot. Okay, so that's the largest it'll go. We'll shrink this down. We'll take a look. Not a lot of clear data here on Doge, you guys. I think there was one. I think it was H bar where it was like perfect bottoms. So nothing here on Doge. Let's take a look at Hype. Hype negative funding rates actually signaled a top here. Signaled a top, signal a top. So does this signal a top? Yes, this one did as well. So Hype, in fact, is in the inverse. Funding rates go negative, it signals a top for price. Let's continue. SWI, nothing to see there. Chainlink, I saw someone ask about Chainlink in the chat. Chainlink's been positive funding rates for a very long time, since June. So no data. ADA, nothing to see there. Aster. Now, AVAX is an interesting one, okay? AVAX, contrary to some of the other ones we saw, and we'll zoom in here. We can correlate, right? This was a funding rates turned negative. Price kind of consolidated, saw a little bit of a bounce. I think this one is a little more, and we'll start dropping some horizontals here. Here's one. Here's two. Here's three. Okay. So let's go ahead and shrink this down, and we can just look at price action. Your vertical lines are where your vertical lines are where funding rates turn negative. And this essentially was a bottom for AVAX. This initial rally was 27%. If you extend it out to the entire rally, it was around 55%. Second funding rate going negative, AVAX rally, 15%. And the last one here, tiny rally of 5%, and then we had that massive spill off. And if you take a look at where funding rate is now, well, it just turned negative again. So is this an opportunity to long AVAX? Let's go to the AVAX chart. Daily. I think AVAX is going to bounce here, man. Just got money flow into the green. We had a green dot on a massively oversold momentum wave. One thing I will say on the daily, though, we're seeing that momentum roll over. Let's go down to the lower time frame. This might be a long here on AVAX. This is the 4 hour. Let's check the 1 hour. Nice momentum bounce on the 1 hour here on AVAX. Yeah, I think I like AVAX here. Let's put in an AVAX long here. We'll go lower leverage. We'll go 12, isolated, market, and you know what? We'll do $200. With $200, AVAX long. Yeah, Bittensor trade deep in the red. I expected to come back. I feel fairly. I actually added some more margin to that one. But what we're doing with AVAX here, guys, funding rates turn negative, right? Historically, that's usually a bottom, but it's not. We don't just go off that. The bigger thing here is getting that bounce off of the 200 MA. We've already had that twice now on a wick after reclaim, right? This one went from $22.30 up to $24. This one got a wick down, ended up wick down to that $21.97, closed at $22.75. And that is where price is now. 1 hour shows a little bit of a bounce. Big volume note here. The one thing I will say is $23.77. That's going to be a key level for AVAX to overtake. If AVAX can get above $23.79, it's a graveyard of volume until you get back up to around $28. So that is where we'll be looking to exit our position on that trade that we just put in on AVAX. But this could very well go against us. And in fact, I'm going to put my TP, or excuse me, my stop loss below 21.44. Let's go ahead and do that right now. We'll go 21.4 stop loss. If it loses that, then we'll take the L and we'll move on Avalanche. Let's go back to CoinGlass. And let's keep going down the list. If we're seeing any other, okay, Athena. This one I'm less confident on using funding rates to catch bottoms. So we'll move on from that one. Litecoin, green currently. And we're on the daily, by the way. If you all you got to do is this is free, by the way. If you want to play along, go to coinglass.com, data, super charts, and just X everything out except your funding rates, and just go to the daily, and you can just do this. It's really pretty simple. Tron is an interesting one. Okay, let's look at Tron. Multiple days of negative funding rates. This marked a bottom. Tron rallied 15%. Let's look back at other times. I would argue here, multiple days in a row of negative funding rates, and this marked a bottom. Here was more choppy, but again, kind of marked a bottom. And well, where we are now with Tron. Multiple days of negative funding rates. Let's go to the Tron chart here. Daily still holding above our 200 MA, which is great. Not a lot of volume, a little bit of volume here, but your massive volume sits at around 33.8 cents. So this one for me, if I were to enter along, it would be a quick scalp, and it would either have to be high margin or very high leverage. Well, let's see. Let's see if it's worth the high margin or the high leverage. Nothing on the daily that gives me nothing on the daily that gives me confidence. Same on the 4 hour. Little bit of a bounce on the 1 hour. Not too shabby. Let's go to Market Cipher A. I would also like to, on the 1 hour, go to my cloud and Market Cipher A. Okay, Market Cipher A is giving us a reversal of previous trend, which previous trend, as you can see here, is up. So Market Cipher is telling us it's going to reverse. The last time we saw off a bounce, it was an incorrect signal, actually. Tron continued to go up 2%, which is not a big move. Now on the 1 hour, though, interesting. We did just get a break above our cloud on the 1 hour. Let's get rid of Market Cipher. So a couple things here, and I'll get rid of the VWAP as well, or the VRVP. Bearish crossover, 26-day cross above our 9-day. That is bearish. Bullish, though, is we've crossed above our cloud. Cloud is green. So a little bit of divergence there, mixed signals here on the cloud. So this one, not confident enough to enter into a long as we did with AVAX, but interesting, right? Let's continue to go down. BCH, no. Tau, no. Aptos has just been bleeding. I don't even want to look at that one. Uniswap, got Zcash, near. No, thank you. Aave, no. WorldCoin, no. Ondo. Is there something here with Ondo? Let's take a look. Hit or miss on Ondo. Enough to go look at a chart, though. Let's look at an Ondo chart. Yeah, Ondo's pretty bearish, man. If you are in a long, or if you're going to take a long, get out before we hit 90 cents. You have confluence there, some potential resistance with your MA ribbon, plus that volume node at 91 cents. Currently 77 cents. That's still a pretty big spread to make some money without having to go high margin or high leverage. But this is a pretty bearish setup on Ondo. Let's see Market Cipher B if it's giving us any signals here. Nothing bullish on the daily. We can go down to the 4 hour. You know, 4 hour cloud looks decent. Cloud has held support, which is great. We're also at, on the 4 hour at the very least, we're at a very high volume node. That's around 76 cents. So far, so good. 9 days trading above, 9-day MAs trading above our 26. There's a nice spread there. Cloud is green, unless it just turned red. It just turned red. Never mind. That was a quick twist. Let's check market cipher on the 4 hour here on Ondo. We got the first trigger wave, which had like nothing, right? Looking at this, this was a perfect trigger wave. Let me actually clean up this chart down here on the market cipher. Let's get rid of you. Right, this was a picture perfect anchor trigger wave setup with VWAP crossing above. And what did price do? Price did nothing. It chopped sideways. It went up a little bit, like 1%, and then it fell. And so this just goes to show you that you shouldn't just throw all your faith and your trading and your entries and exits into one strategy or one indicator or one alert. You would have lost money there. But we have a chance to run it back. We have a chance to run it back. Could we get a double trigger wave? Red dot here. This thing would have to hold here and not dig any deeper. And there's still 30 minutes left on this 4 hour chart. If we get that green dot with the confluence where volume is, cloud is holding up, 9 days above our 26, might be enough for us to enter along, but we'd have to wait 30 minutes to see where that chart lands. We can check the 1 hour here on Ondo. 1 hour definitely more bearish, seeing a little bit of a rounded out bottom here, catching some support at this large volume node. Curious what Heikenashi's telling me. Heikenashi's telling me nothing. Guys, you see these gaps, just a lot of back and forth, choppy market. Choppy market options, great, you make money. Choppy market in crypto, you're trading leverage, you're not making money. Higher low though on the 1 hour, which is good. All right, take a look here. Nice rounding out. Green dot on market cipher, VWAP just crossed above. Money flow still expanding to the downside though. Seeing a nice bounce on our momentum indicators here. But on the way up, 78 cents, right? We have a gap here in volume, but you have your nine days sitting at 78 cents. Your cloud is sitting at 78.3 cents. And so also you have potentially playing out here too is a bear flag on the 1 hour. And I know I got a lot of shit going on here. Let me clean this up for you guys. Right, this is kind of a bear flag here. Bear pennant, bear flag, whatever you want to call it. Pretty tight range. Invalidation here sits at 78.5 cents, which is close enough to the bottom end of our cloud. No confidence for a long though here. Bit for Fun said, kept giving it back my wins on the next few trades. Yeah, we've been there, bro. G&H said, why does Rob hate Caspa so much? I don't know that he hates Caspa. I think for him, it's more of weighing whether it's the correct project to be in terms of making money strictly. I don't think it has anything to do with hating the community or hating the project itself. Just like you're sitting there, you got Caspa or Project X. Which one is going to bring you the most money? I think that's where Rob stands on that. All right, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up. Where's AVAX? AVAX seeing a nice bounce. We'll check on that one more time before we. This thing went limp on me, bro. It went limp. We hate it when it goes limp when you're in the middle of trying to perform. The charts, it's not good. That MA is holding on the daily, my friends. The 200 MA is a powerful level. I'll be happy if we can get a run back up to 2376. Scalp some profit there. So yeah. Anyways, that'll do it for today's show. Thank you all very much. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays is when we do our trading show. And then Monday through Friday is when we do our morning show. You can catch both shows. I love you guys. Hang in there. I know it's very confusing market, but to me at least, nothing is telling me that outside of just price action in a nutshell. What? Rooster, just in time, of course, right when I'm about to log off. All right, Rooster, I looked into XCL. I'm not interested. It's got some weird, like Fox something, FAWKES, that no one's ever heard of. It's like keeps saying that on their website. And I'm like, what is that? What is that? And it's not something that I'm interested in. I don't think the R&R is there. Yeah, it's like privacy stuff, but I don't know. That meta's starting to slow down a little bit. It's pretty low in the market cap. It's got pretty low liquidity. And I just, to me, it's not interesting. I'm not planning on buying any at all, ever. So yeah, not much there, but I kept seeing the same lingo being used. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what's Fox protocol? Anyways, yeah, so those are my thoughts. I didn't do too much research, dude. Baseline, just like surface level, I'm not interested. So, anyway, see you guys tomorrow. Bye.